What's up, Mom Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Live and Learn, where we talk with mom members of the MOMnation network, of our group on Facebook that have something to share with us. Maybe they have a specialized skill, or maybe they have a really valuable piece of knowledge that they can share with us in this 20 minutes or so that we're here live, or it be something that you can take away with you and you can implement right away. So I have actually been really excited about this one for quite some time, Jeanine, because as Jeanine knows, my dance card is a bit full. So it took her a few minutes to get on the show.
That's great news. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here, Katie.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited to have you. Welcome to the show. And I hope to have you again and again, because as I was reviewing your intake form, I was thinking to myself, well, we could talk about this in an entire episode. We could talk about that in an entire episode. You know, I was just saying that about every little thing that you wrote. So thank you for being so thorough with that and for sharing so much of yourself with me. And before we dive into it, why don't you share a little bit about yourself with our audience so they can get to know you like I have?
Yeah, sure. Well, again, thank you again for having me. I've watched your Live and Learns and I love them. And the group's amazing. So I am a single mom of 4 kids. I was married for 20 years. For the last 15 years, I've worked with women. I'm a hypnotherapist. I am a Karuna Reiki master, and I'm a relationship coach. So I have a slightly different perspective that a lot of relationship coaches have. I implement a lot of different modalities, but ultimately I want to help women understand themselves more thoroughly so that they can approach relationships in healthier ways and build lasting love.
I love that. And one thing that I love about you, and I'm just going to throw it out on the table right now, Jeanine, because I know, time is somewhat limited on this show.
Sure.
And I know it's a big topic and there's a lot to unpack. But before we got on the show, we talked a little bit about your expertise and how well you help women that are our age, over 40, getting out of a long-term relationship such as yourself. 20 years is a long time to be married. There's a lot of stuff there. And I'm assuming, and I went through this myself. I was married for nearly 10 years, so not quite as long as you, but also divorced, found myself in the dating scene again. I don't know. Is that what that is? Like, because you forget, right? Like, what even is this? What do we do?
Yes.
How do we move forward? What about all of the baggage that I have? What about that fear that I have? Because I don't want to just do this again, right? Like, I don't want it to be a repeat performance.
Yes.
So there's a lot of anxiety when you're in that space. Can you kind of talk us out of that anxiety, or share with us what would it be like if I was in that situation and I came to talk to you today?
Yeah. So, I mean, the far majority of the women that I work with, that is their number one fear. Like, I've done this and I seem to be doing this a lot, whatever this is, these patterns. And how do I break the pattern? Or why is it that I'm always attracting the same type of person? And really, it all starts within yourself. So while I mentioned earlier, my group is like Lasting Love and Midlife, it's really about loving yourself and understanding yourself so deeply that you can approach relationships differently. And it all starts with the way we view the world. So I don't want to digress, but you brought up a point that is super important and something that I explain to a lot of people. We have a reticular activating system in our brain. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's the base of our brain, and it really is responsible for filtering information. And so this gives people a lot of sort of relief to understand this. You've heard all of the phrases like what you focus on, you attract. I mean, without going into the idea of manifestation, which is a whole other conversation and has been tweaked and twisted a lot. What you focus on, you bring more into your life. And the way we do this is quite literally through science. The reticular activating system filters out the billions of bits of information that we receive every single minute, whether it's sensory, through your eyes, through taste, through sense, through hearing, audibly. And it says, what is it that we need to filter down that this person thinks is important? And that is what we understand in the world. So if you've decided, say, I'm going to buy a car, and I promise this does come back and connect. If you decide you're going to buy that vehicle and suddenly you're seeing that vehicle everywhere, that's your reticular activating system at work. If you are in a crowd of 2,000 people and someone screams, "Mom," you're going to turn around because you can, among all of the noises, you hear the word mom or you hear your name. That's your reticular activating system, making sure that you're focused on what you find important. And the way it does this is by understanding and filtering the world through your belief systems. So how have you trained your reticular activating system in life? You've done this by focusing on the things that are important to you. And if you back up through that, those are developed very early on through your attachment styles, through your core wounds, through the belief systems that you develop from those core wounds, all the way to today. So when people get a better picture of that, and I gave you a super high level because I know I could talk about that for hours, and I do. It kind of lets people pause and say, okay, I've trained my brain to see these patterns, to feel what is familiar, and to go after what is familiar. And it's subconscious. Your subconscious mind makes 97% of your choices every single day. Our conscious mind is responsible for 3 to 5% of our decisions. That is shocking for a lot of people. And everything is just trained. So essentially, we're living every day in the past, if you think about it that way. What we've learned, what we've developed, what we've believed, what we've perceived is all through this filter that we've created from past experiences, past programming. So how do you filter that out? How do you shift it? How do you identify how to redirect your focus to self-love, to self-respect, to what your needs are? How do you meet your needs? And all of that rolls up into how you approach another potential relationship. And wow, that was a lot of information and not where I intended to go.
That was a lot of information and it was awesome. And as you were talking, I was kind of thinking like, oh, okay, so that's your personal algorithm.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I could have just said that. It is literally your personal algorithm. Yes, Katie, I'm using that on my page.
Please do. Because I think it helps, especially like I know that women of our age are not, necessarily millennials.
Yeah.
But it'll speak to those millennials.
Right.
One thing, Jeanine, that I would love for you to dive into just a little bit, sort of speaking of, being middle-age-ish, getting out of a relationship. I've been having this conversation quite a bit. I don't really know why. Well, I deal with people who are separating and that kind of thing quite a lot. My expertise lies there in terms of real estate, not all real estate. Anyway, it's not about me, it's about you. But I work with a lot of separating couples. And so the conversation that I've been having a lot is more focus on, hey, I need to get into another relationship. It's like that's the focus is another person. Well, when I am done with this relationship, then I'll be free to go find another one. And I'm thinking to myself, like, there's a middle piece in there that I'm not sure that a lot of people stay in for as long as they should. And that is the finding yourself piece. I know that for me, I wasn't aware of that. So when I got divorced, I was in my early 30s, and I was one of the ones that was like, well, now time for the next one. Like, I didn't really let the grass grow for very long. And I think that had to do with a few different reasons, one of which was a comfort level.
Sure.
It felt comfortable to be paired up. I actually liked a lot of what it meant to be married. I liked a lot of that. And so I felt like I kind of was chasing that comfort again. And I'm sure that there are a variety of reasons for people doing that, but I kind of feel like it all boils down to comfort and the norm and what I'm used to, kind of thing. Can you dive into that a little bit? Let us know why maybe we should or shouldn't hang in that period of, you know what, I'm in between right now and I'm comfortable here and I'm just going to work on me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, 100%. So if you don't understand yourself and understand what you're looking for or attracting, you're going to repeat the same patterns. Like, it's just the way we do things, because familiarity is comfortable. And we are always seeking safety. We're always seeking comfort. So if you don't give yourself enough time to really ask yourself the tough questions and get brutally honest with yourself about what your needs are and what your wants are, you're going to be living outside of yourself, like outside of your energy field. You're going to be living from the outside in. You're going to be following other people's expectations and suggestions, and you're not going to be asking yourself. So the importance of being able to, you'll know, I tell people this all the time, you'll know when you're ready, when you're comfortable being alone.
Yeah.
That's a hard one for a lot of people. But when you're comfortable being by yourself, you are then taking like this fresh start to finding someone to live life with. So
Yeah.
I'll use myself as an example. I, for years after my divorce, did not want to date at all. In fact, I never thought I would again, which I found that to be a fairly unreasonable assessment for myself, because I love to be married and partnered. And as you said, I love what it means to me. But I took several years to dive back into all of the things that I teach my clients. And why did I stay as long as I did? Why did I choose what I did? Why did I make the choices that I did? And what is it that I need and want right now? How do I fill those needs myself so that I'm not desperately seeking someone else to fill those holes?
Right.
And how can I show up as my whole version of myself? And when I did this, and it is an ongoing process, it's not like it's ever going to end for anybody, right?
Right.
I did find this really healthy love that I completely didn't expect. And people get frustrated when they hear like, oh, you'll find love when you least expect it. You least expect it because you're focused on you. You're focused on your own healing and yourself. And that's
Right.
the beauty of showing up and really meeting someone that you can move forward with. I don't know if I really answered your question there, but it's very important to understand yourself, or you really risk repeating the same patterns. You're going to look for what's comfortable.
Totally agree. So being, and you did, thank you for that insight. Being in that space, what are some things that, let's just say I'm there. I just
Sure.
left a long-term relationship, I'm mid-40s at this point, and I'm focusing on the next relationship
I would
rather than
immediately,
focusing on myself.
right. So if you came to me and you're like, hey, Jeanine, I know you can help me get back into the dating field, I'll say like, I do not help you write your dating profile. Is not what I'm here for. And I'll ask them why they're so interested in getting back into a relationship. And then they'll tell me typically because I like companionship. And then say, okay, and what about the companionship? And really have them start to like dig into what is that? Really, it's what is the core wound that's there? Is it being alone? Is it being abandoned? Is it afraid of not being enough without somebody else? Is it afraid of this belief that you have to earn love? And therefore, if you don't have it, you're not a success in life. Like there's a lot of underlying stuff. It's really never just what we think it is on the surface. So I would try to help them understand that in a way that they would pause and reflect. There's so much power in the pause, whether it's in the moment of a conversation or whether it's in a period of your life. And one of the first steps I help people understand, because it makes a lot of sense, is attachment theory.
Yes.
Yeah. So I specialize in integrative attachment theory, and understanding why we attach or expect relationships to go the way we believe is so powerful in understanding the bits of our patterns. And then you can take the understanding of how you attach. And for everyone listening, there's 4 main attachment styles, and they're really developed at an early age, but throughout our lives, we can create new attachment styles based on very powerful experiences and emotions or 20-year dysfunctional marriages. And we can unlearn these patterns too. But when you understand all that's related to the way you are expecting a relationship to work, you can back it out. You can make some tweaks. You can make some conscious choices and retrain and reprogram your subconscious mind, which is what it's all about. You can talk yourself silly. You can read someone else's affirmations, but if they don't resonate, if you don't believe them, and if you're not reprogramming your subconscious mind, you're just reading a book.
So do you have like a test or something we can take that
Yes.
says, hey, this is what your do you really? Like,
I
hey,
do,
this is
actually.
what your attachment style is? Are you serious? We all need to take it. That's wild.
Actually, I have already posted in your group that every woman in your group who jumps onto my link that I have in a post, and I'm sure I will attach it, I will give them my course. It's a 3-module course all about attachment style. This is a course that I sell to people. I'm giving it to everyone in this group for free. And it will tell you what your attachment style is. Actually, it won't tell you. You'll figure it out. It's 3 modules. It's not crazy long. And it's got worksheets and a quiz and a lot of, me explaining about attachment styles and what it is. And that information is not just, hey, you're anxiously attached. It's,
Right.
hey, you've identified with anxious attachment. Here's how it shows up in your relationships. Here's where you can make some shifts. So that's your quiz. There you go.
I
Anyone
love
that.
That's amazing. You are so on top of it, Jeanine. So can you give an example perhaps of, so we've talked about attachment styles before in, one of our other podcasts that we do, we've talked about it a couple of times, but not everybody watches everything. So what example can you give that just would kind of illustrate, even if you just choose one of the styles, so that somebody can kind of make the connection of what you're talking about, if this is something they've never been introduced to before?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was raised by parents who encouraged me. They were very responsive. So it starts at earliest age. You're going to develop your first attachment style before the age of 3. It's likely between 18 months and 2 years. People are surprised by that, but it is how your primary caregivers respond to you, is how you kind of program, this is what I can expect. I cry and my needs are met. I am held. I feel safe and secure. That is someone who would be developing secure attachment. If a child is left to cry on its own in the middle of a room, they're going to develop dismissive avoidant attachment, where they feel they have to create and satisfy their own, they're going to do it on their own. So they're going to be dismissive. It's really fascinating. Then there's fearful avoidant, which is a combination of both. And then there's anxious attachment, which I have personal experience with. So when I was growing up, my family was very supportive. I developed very secure attachments with everyone in my circles, because you can have different attachment styles for different relationships. And I mentioned before, you can be like, I am securely leaning anxious at this point in my life. I still have those little like rubs. When I get a smell of something, I might have an anxious response.
Mm-hmm.
So I was securely attached in a lot of my relationships. My parents would say things like, question authority, except for us, question authority, except for the government, except for police, except for your teachers. And I'm like, okay.
Well, who was left?
And another message I got was, and it was intended to be supportive, but it was, when there was conflict, I know you better than you know yourself. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. That was like, let me give you my self-agency. Now, I'm not villainizing my parents. They were amazing parents. They did the best that they could. We all do. And my motto is save money for therapy because there's loans for college. So I developed securely attached with everyone but authority figures. I was very anxiously attached. So when I approached relationships in my 20s and childhood, friends and dating, I was securely attached. In school with authority figures, I would get very anxious, people pleasing, trying to make sure I was seen as the right and good. I went into a marriage securely attached, 20 years of a very unhealthy marriage. After about 10, there was addiction in my marriage. We lost our son together. It was a lot of lies and inconsistencies. And I went immediately towards that anxious response. And those became my coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
I left my marriage and I worked a lot on that again, recognizing, yeah, wow, I really became codependent. I really covered up a lot. I did all these things. These were the ways I used these coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like sort of a personal example of how you develop attachment styles and how they can be exacerbated and changed, and how we can rewire ourselves. So years later, and I'm constantly doing the work, I met my partner now, who is securely dismissive avoidant. Like, he is secure, but leaning dismissive, which really activates those who are anxious.
Yeah.
But in our situation, we communicate a lot, and he understands that I have these needs, and I can tend to think too much about something. And I can remember, I can trust him. He's never shown me anything other than truth, honesty, and love. And we were able to sort of come back in. So we meet in this secure area. Not to say sometimes I don't, get a whiff of some insecure behavior that I react to, but it's all about checking yourself and reminding and reprogramming.
So huge.
Yeah.
So incredibly huge. Why is this something that we don't talk about? Like, there should be some sort of requirement out there. Like, people are going to get mad at me and throw tomatoes at the screen, but there should be some sort of requirement. Like, you can't get married unless you've taken these classes.
Yes.
Like, isn't there something out there that says that?
Right. And maybe we should just teach it in school. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I love it. I know that you have so much more to dive into. I know that you have so much more value for our mom members out there. I really appreciate the value that you have brought. It's exciting to me to know that some of our mom members have taken you up on it. You've got,
yes.
These classes that you're offering. You've got lives over in your group. You're doing all sorts of things. Can you just fill us in? I know you did a little bit, but just one last time for those that are really excited about what they heard today and they want more.
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing I'd say is join my group, Lasting Love in Midlife. That's my private Facebook group where we can support each other related specifically to relationships. And then everyone who clicks that link that I'm sure we'll put in again, it's in your MOMnation. If they search for my name, they can just drop their email and name in. They'll jump on my list and I'll give them immediate access to my attachment blueprint. What's your style? 3-module course. I also have a go live Monday the 17th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And we're going to be talking about the 3 secrets to love and connection in midlife. It's a live masterclass. You can register for that through my website or through social media, or just message me or DM me and I can get the information. And if you can't make it live, there will be a replay in my group. But those are the 3 main things I'd say. Yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm going to assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that the post that you posted a couple of days ago in MOMnation AZ on Facebook has a link to what you're talking about, correct?
It does. It does. And if anyone can't find it, please just DM me, comment, and I will get them the link directly.
Awesome. I'll also pop it in the show notes. So it's there for everybody to go ahead and click on. Obviously, if you're a member of the group, you'll get right in. You'll get right to it. If you're not, we encourage you to be a member of MOMnation and also a member of Jeanine's group as well. You're going to find a lot of value in both groups. So certainly get in touch with one of us and we can help you with that if you are not seeing the things that you need to see. We like to make it easy for you. All right, guys. Well, Jeanine, I would love to invite you to come back because I'm looking at your intake form and I'm thinking we didn't talk about this and we didn't talk about that.
I would love to come back. Thank you so much, Katie.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here with us. If you guys want to check out any of our previous live and learns, you can hop on over to our YouTube channel. You're going to find yourselves in the midst of hundreds of live and learn videos over there, guys. So it's very, very binge worthy. We have a lot of very amazing, inspirational, valuable, sharing valuable offerings from our amazing MOMnation members over on that channel. It is at MOMnation USA. That's our handle. Scroll down just a little ways. You will see the bright red of the live and learn, and that is the playlist. If you prefer the podcast style on your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio. There you will find us. You will find all of our shows all into that one podcast platform. Like, follow, notify, click the bell, all the things, download, rate us. You know you love us, and it really helps us out a lot. So thanks so much. Don't miss a thing. We will see you next time. All right, Jeanine. See you later.
Bye-bye.